just bringing this thing current, and you've been so gracious with your time, and I thank you so much. Just got a few more questions before I let you walk up out of here. I got to ask you, your good friend Prince, 2016, he passes.
Yeah.
How bad did you take it? Because you spoke about him so dearly in this conversation that I almost can't let you walk up out of here without. How did that affect your life? Because you guys clearly had more than a business relationship.
Yeah. I'm still processing it is the short answer. I'm still processing it. I miss him. There are days, there are moments, there are occasions when I wish I could talk to him, to seek his advice, to seek his counsel. You can best believe there was more than one time in trying to build and establish this new talk radio station, KBLA, that I wanted to talk to him, again, get his advice, get his counsel, get his support, just get his take on things. It was Prince who got me thinking about buying this radio station, which, as you mentioned earlier, is the first and only Black-owned talk radio station west of the Mississippi. There are only four, only four Black-owned talk stations in this entire country. Now think about how big talk radio is. Think about all the voices on talk radio. I call talk radio a conservative citadel. The lineup is all day, all night, all white. That's the lineup. All day, all night, all white. Only four Black-owned talk stations. But Prince for years was telling me, Tavis, you got to own your content, man. Content is king. The reason why he had that word slave etched in his beard is because he was a slave to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers would not give that Negro back his masters. He finally got them. And I just saw Anita Baker the other day, finally got her masters back after 3 decades.
Shout to Anita
So people
Baker.
have to fight for their masters. And Prince was in a fight with Warner Brothers over those masters. And that's why slave was on his face. My point is, he would always tell me, don't be like me. Own your content, own your masters. And to this day, I'm very happy to say that I own all of my content, all of my shows, all of my books. I own my content. I built my own office structure. Come down to Crenshaw Boulevard. You'll see our building, the Smiley building. I believe in owning my stuff. One of the conversations Prince started having with me before he died, sadly and tragically, and I think untimely, was a conversation about the following. He said, Tavis, I've been telling you for years that content is king. And I do believe that. But I got a new framework for you. I said, what, Prince? He said, content is king, but distribution is emperor. Content is king, but distribution is emperor. And I want you to start thinking about the next move in your career. And I believe the next move in your career ought to be toward becoming a distributor of your own content. And that's what sowed the seeds of me thinking about how to own my own delivery system. And that's when I went to work and thinking about what that would be. And lo and behold, it's KBLA Talk 1580, our flagship talk station in LA that I hope to build into a Black talk radio network across the country. But for Prince, were it not for Prince being in my ear, even after he was dead, replaying over and over and over again, distribution is emperor. Distribution is emperor. You got to own a delivery system. I've been thinking about that, and that's why I am now. So even in death, Prince is still profoundly impacting my life, and I'm processing every day what it means to be without him. But I miss that brother sorely. I miss him deeply. The one great thing about music, and for that matter, whether you're talking Prince or Michael Jackson or Vlad TV, the one thing that is irrefutable is that once you do good work and people get a chance to view it or read it or listen to it, it stays there forever. And so I miss that brother. I miss him eternally. And yet I never get enough of hearing his music. And it just does something to me every time I hear him come on the radio or playing in my studio or in my car. It does something to me. His contribution is irrefutable. It is incontrovertible. And that's what it means to do great work. I believe simply this, that your life, the work you do in your life becomes your afterlife. The work that you do in your life becomes your afterlife. So if you do good work in your life, your afterlife is going to be okay because they still going to be talking about you. They still going to be reading you. They still playing your music. So do your work again so well that the dead, the living, or the unborn couldn't do it any better. And even when you're gone, Negroes will still be talking about how cold you were while you lived.
Whew, those are some deep words right there. 2017. You know, Prince passed in 16, I believe. Very, very rough on you. 2017, you sue PBS for wrongful termination. Ultimately, you lose in court, but you have appealed. You know, you got caught up in something that so many people are being caught up in. And I guess my only question to you is, why did you choose to fight? Most people get recommendations from their PR company, from people close to them. Protect your career, protect your good name. Just stay shut. It'll blow over. Tomorrow, something devastating will happen in the world, and they'll completely forget about this. You chose to take a very different route, and you actually took PBS to court. Wrongful termination. What was your motivation behind that?
Very simply, my name is all I have. That's it. My name is all I have. And there's no deep answer to it. And you're right. I had friends and even family, and certainly my lawyers, even though they were well paid, were telling me to settle this case. I've not talked about this aspect really publicly. I will say it to you on Vlad TV. But it got to the point where PBS realized they'd made a mistake, and they started offering me a settlement. And the numbers started pretty low because they always want to disrespect us. But by the time they made their final offer before I went to court, and let me just say, literally on the steps of the courthouse, as the trial was about to begin, their lead lawyer made a final offer to my lead lawyer. I was not at the courthouse yet. My lead lawyer called me back in my hotel room on my cell phone and said, Tavis, they've upped this offer one more again. And as your lawyer, I'm encouraging you, I'm counseling you, take the offer. And all I can tell you right now until I get around to writing the book is that PBS's offer escalated and escalated and escalated. And by the time I walked up the steps into the courthouse to begin this trial, their offer was in the millions of dollars. Into the millions, PBS offered me money to settle this case. And I refused because it's not about money for me. It's about my good name. It's about all the years I've spent trying to build my career based on integrity, on courage and conviction and commitment and hopefully character. That's what I've tried to build my career on. And so for me, it was just about my good name. Unfortunately, we got an adverse decision from the jury. It didn't help that 2 days, 48 hours prior to the jury getting the case in my trial, Harvey Weinstein was found guilty in New York City, so the timing was horrible. This was prior to the racial reckoning movement where the country came to really deal with the issues of the way we maltreat Black men and Black women after the murder of George Floyd. So in many respects, the timing of the case was not good for me. And so that's why the case is on appeal. And perhaps somewhere down the road, I will be able to celebrate a victory in the trial aspect of my case. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not losing sleep. I'm back to work. Thank God for Jesus. I'm back on my feet. I'm back in the ring. I'm doing what I've always done. And I'm humbled by it every day that I've been able to be the one man that came out of that who got back on his feet and didn't come back. And I'm not hating on podcasts, but I didn't come back with a podcast. We came back with ownership. Prince pushed me in that direction. So I'm humbled and grateful to be back on my feet. But my reputation, my name means every single thing to me. That's really all we have is our name. And I'm not going to let anybody besmirch that. You're not going to lie on me. You're not going to scapegoat me. I'm not going to let you get away with that. And so that's why I sued. And we will see in the coming months or years, these appeals take years sometimes. We'll see if in the coming months and years I win on appeal. If I don't, at this point, it doesn't matter. Again, I'm back on my feet. I'm doing what I do. But the record will state, whenever my time is up, the record will state that he denied it on day 1. He fought it on day 2. And every other day of his life, he fought it. I'm not going to cop to something that I didn't do. Just not going to do it. And so that's why I fought, because my name means more to me than anything in the world. There's a Bible verse that says a good name is rather to be preferred than great riches. A good name is rather to be preferred than great riches. And so my name is more to me than all the money in the world. And that's why I turned down their millions and went to court to fight them.
Amen. Amen to that. Okay. It's been 4 long years. You back in the game.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah.
You didn't come back as a player. You came back as an owner. You bought what so many people know as the music station K-Day.
Yeah.
You bought that and turned it to KBLA, talk radio. For some, I mean, I've read a couple of numbers out here, but this is mad money. I mean, we talking $10 million is something that you were able to purchase this station for. How does it feel being back in front of that microphone every day?
Yeah.
You spoke about the ownership. So I understand where you were even given that idea, where that seed was planted for you. But this is just something you love to do.
Yeah.
Share your opinion, share your thoughts, share your wisdom. Being back in front of that microphone every single day, but now on your terms, on your station, the only Black owned and operated station on this side of the Mississippi. How does that feel for you?
We are the only, Black-owned talk station. Stevie Wonder, of course, owns KGLH 102.3. My friend Stevie here in L.A. But there are almost 200 radio stations in L.A. And now just 2 African-American owned and operated with Stevie and us. And again, nothing west of Mississippi but us. Only 3 other Black-owned talk stations in the whole country. So it's rarefied air, number one. And of all the things I've done in my career, I'm not going to lie, it is, Brother Shawn, the heaviest lift I've ever had. It's a heavy, heavy, heavy lift.
Really?
But I'm grateful. As I said to a friend of mine the other day, he said, "How you doing?" I said, "Man, I'm fighting lions with a switch, but I'm doing it successfully. I'm fighting lions with a switch, but I'm doing it successfully." And as my friends know, if you ever see me in a fight with a bear, you better help the bear. As a matter of fact, you can pour honey all over me, and you still better help the bear. I say that with humility. My point is, though, I'm a fighter. I don't give up. I don't give in. And I don't believe in starting fights, but I don't run from them, right? So if I find myself in a fight, I'm in it to win it. And so I'm grateful to be back in the ring. And what it feels like every day is just gratitude. I believe that gratitude, Brother Shawn, is the gateway to greatness. That's what I believe, that gratitude is the gateway to greatness. Never in my life, for as long as I live, will I ever be puffed up, pat myself on the back, stick my chest out. It ain't about that. Because as I said, the fact that I was allowed to get back in the game says to me that God smiled on me and that I had the favor of God. Not that others don't, but that he favored me. And of all the men who went through what I went through in that era, I'm the one that got back on his feet. I'm the one that got back in the ring. And I'm a Black man, as you can obviously tell. And I was still the one that was allowed to get back in the game. And so I'm grateful every day. I am humbled every day. I'm more committed now to my people than ever before. And because I know now what it means to be lied on, because I know what it means to be railroaded, because I know what it means to be run out of town, as it were, I will never, God knows I mean every word of this, I will never, ever, and I don't want to get emotional, but I will never, ever sit idly by and watch any Black person I know have the system come for them and not do everything I can in my life with my platform to help them, to defend them, because I know what it feels like to go through that. And so I'm committed to not just building and growing this station, but if you Black and you in a fight and they coming for you, whether you invite me or not, I might just show up and be on the front line right next to you, because I know what it feels like to go through that, and nobody should fight this fight alone. It's hard enough to be Black as it is. Somebody said there are no good times to be Black in America, and sometimes are worse than others. But when they come for you, I know what that feels like. And so I'm committed the rest of my life to stand with those who are trying to do the right thing and trying to say the right thing and trying to love and serve their own people. And let me just be clear. The more you love Black people, the closer you are to a cross, man. They will crucify you. They will crucify you just because you love your people so much. And I've seen that happen. It happened to Paul Robeson all throughout history. There's so many African Americans who they went for. They came for them just because they were truth tellers and because they loved their people so much. And I think in some ways that's why they came for me, because I was never going to shut up on PBS or anywhere else. Any platform I had or have, I will always use to advance the causes of my own people. So that may be one of the reasons they came for me. I don't know. It doesn't matter now. The beat goes on, as the whispers say, and I'm just trying to keep it moving every day, brother.
You know, you said that's one of the reasons why they may have come for you, but you'll probably understand where I'm coming from when I say this. You know, when we're going through our darkest times, you have absolutely gone through some very difficult times over the last 4 or 5 years. But the one thing I know for sure is God does his best work in the dark. He really, really does.
Yes, he does.
And you going through that, one way to look at it is you were chosen. God knew on the other side there was this KBLA deal that you were going to put together. He also knew that you would be so motivated. If you weren't motivated before to fight for your people, you would be so motivated that if you ever seen any other person of color being railroaded, everything that they've worked for being taken against them, you were going to use your platform to speak out against it. So sometimes when we go through things, it's not that we're being punished in any way. See, we can't see that far down the road, or we be God. Sometimes you're just chosen. And in your case, now owning KBLA and having this new motivation, I truly believe that you were chosen. Before I let you out of here, we got a question from one of our YouTube members, Mary Jane Burns. She asked, what do you think if Kamala Harris takes over as president?
I think that right now things aren't going in her favor, as it were regarding her vice presidency. She's had a difficult time. Her poll numbers have not been good. And I think in some ways the Biden administration hasn't given her the kind of portfolio that I think that she really ought to have to show what she can do. But she's there, and Joe Biden chose her. And the most important thing about being vice president is that you got to be able to step into the shoes of the president if anything were to happen. I pray nothing happens to Joe Biden. I pray he'll be allowed to serve out this term. And my sense is whether he chooses to run for a second term or not, there may be those who run against him. He may be primary. There may be another Democrat who runs against him. There's a growing chorus of people who think that he should step aside at this age, and he's a great guy, but he's lost a step or two. You can't deny that he's lost a step or two. It's like Ali later in the career, right? You lose a step or two, man. And so there are those who are calling for him to step aside. That's his choice. It's not my choice. Not our choice. It's not Kamala's choice. It's the president's choice. But I think that if he steps aside, there'll be a lot of Democrats that run for that office. And I think that Kamala Harris will certainly throw her name in the hat. And I will say this, that of all the persons right now whose names are on the list who may run, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, the governor of my state, California, Gavin Newsom, Governor Pritzker in Illinois, there are a number of folks whose names are on the list. Kamala does have one thing going for him that they don't have. The polls right now still indicate that up against anybody else who may run, she has the base of the Black community. And as you well know, the Black community is the base of the Democratic Party. So I'm not suggesting that the office is hers. It ain't going to be handed to her. It ain't going to be given to her. If there's a race, a lot of folk are going to run, and she got to acquit herself and win that nomination. But she does at least start the race with the support of the Black community. She has that wind at her back. And so we'll see what happens in the years to come. But I wish Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, the best.
Tavis, I truly enjoyed sitting down with you, brother. This has been everything I thought it would be and more. I respect you. I definitely respect your candor and so many gems you dropped in this interview. So much knowledge and wisdom that came through in your words. So I appreciate you on behalf of everyone at Vlad TV, thank you so much for your time and dropping by, and continue blessings and success to you, my brother.
Brother Shawn, as my friend George Wallace would say, I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Thank you for having me on your program. I appreciate Vlad TV, brother.